Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a close look at something pretty significant. It's about the recent news on police officer salaries in England and Wales. We've got the sources you shared and, well, they offer some really distinct takes on this. So our mission, if you like, for this deep dive is to unpack the details of the pay rise, explore these different reactions, and help you understand what it might mean for police officers and maybe public services more broadly.
Exactly. We're aiming to go beyond just the headlines. We'll look at the numbers, sure, but also the feelings behind the different viewpoints and the sort of wider context in the material you sent over. Because when you talk about public sector pay, it's rarely just the percentage figure, is it? There are always these, well, nuances and longer-term things to think about.
Right. Okay, let's kick things off with the core announcement. What exactly is happening? Police officers in England and Wales, they're set to get a 4.2% pay rise. And this isn't just for some officers, it's across the board. From the brand new recruits, straight out of training, all the way up to chief superintendents. Includes them too.
And it's important to note this isn't just like an unfunded promise. This pay increase is backed by actual money from the Home Office, an extra 120 million towners in funding, which is quite a chunk of change specifically there to cover these higher pay costs.
Yeah, that funding aspect is key. Now, looking at the actual salary figures, some really stand out. The starting salary for a new police constable, that's going up to $31,163. But what really caught my eye is the progression. After just 6 years, a typical constable could be on 50,257 pounds. It's quite a jump. And then at the top end, for senior leadership, an average chief superintendent, their salary will be around 98,500 pounds.
And it's not only the basic salary that's changing. Allowances are getting adjusted too. Things like payments for being on call or working away from home, hardship duties, those go up by 10 pounds. Plus, the London waiting, that extra bit for officers in the capital because it's so expensive, that also goes up by the same 4.2%. So it keeps pace.
Okay, so those are the facts and figures. Now let's get into the different perspectives, the reactions. Let's start with the government's view. This comes from the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper. She was quoted saying, "Our brave police officers work day and night, often making enormous sacrifices to keep us safe."
Yeah, and that quote really sets the tone for the government's message here. Cooper also said the government is proud to back them, and they see this pay award as a clear signal of our gratitude and our determination to ensure they are properly rewarded for their service. So it frames the decision as being about recognition, about valuing the difficult job they do.
A clear message of gratitude then.
Yeah.
But not everyone sees it quite that way. Let's switch gears to the Police Federation. They represent, over 145,000 officers. Their reaction was, well, quite different. Brian Booth, their deputy national chair, he was pretty blunt. He said this 4.2% award barely treads water, especially when you look at inflation being 4.1% right now.
That's a really stark contrast, isn't it? Barely treading water. And he used that very memorable comparison to kind of hammer the point home. He said it works out to about a Big Mac per shift.
A Big Mac per shift. Wow,
Yeah.
That certainly puts it in perspective, doesn't it? Makes it relatable. But, even with that strong criticism, it wasn't all negative from the Federation, was it? There was a slight upside for them.
That's right. It's nuanced. While they're clearly unhappy with the 4.2% overall, they did actually welcome the fact that the government didn't go with the chief constable's suggestion. The chiefs had apparently proposed a lower figure, 3.8%. So the government rejecting that was seen as, well, a small win, I suppose. But it doesn't change their main argument, which is that this award, in their view, does little to reverse the long-term decline in officers' living standards, or, as they put it, to address the crisis policing faces. They see much bigger problems.
And they link that directly to some pretty serious issues. They're saying this pay rise won't stop record levels of resignations or record mental health absences or even the record number of assaults on officers. That's a grim picture.
It really is. And it underlines that for the Federation, this isn't just about this year's pay packet. It's about deeper systemic issues. And importantly, this isn't the end of the story. The Federation is now going to survey its members. They'll ask them whether they want to accept this award or reject it. So the debate continues within the force itself.
Okay, so we've heard from the government expressing gratitude and the Federation expressing, well, significant concern. What about the police leadership? The National Police Chiefs Council, the NPCC, their lead for pay and conditions, Philip Wells, had a more positive take, didn't he? They said they were pleased that the pay review body recognized the evidence that was presented by chief constables.
Yes, their perspective focuses more on the process and the justification for the award itself. They basically believe the award is, quote, what our officers deserve, and that it reflects the nature of the work they are required to undertake to keep our streets safe. So, it's an endorsement from management linking the pay to the demands of the job.
Right. And they also talked about the funding, that $120 million.
Absolutely a crucial point for them. Wells really stressed how vitally important that extra funding is. He pointed out that something like over 85% of police spending is on pay costs. It's the vast majority of their budget.
Wow, 85%. So that extra $120 million isn't just a bonus, it's essential.
Exactly. It's essential, according to Wells, to maintain services and also to be able to keep investing in other important areas like, say, neighborhood policing or new technology. Without that dedicated funding, the pay rise itself could actually squeeze other parts of the police budget.
Okay, so bringing all these different strands together, it's complex. We've got this core tension, haven't we, between the immediate financial benefit of the 4.2% rise and these persistent worries about officers' long-term finances and the bigger challenges facing policing as a whole.
That sums it up well. You have the government framing it as significant gratitude. You have the police chief saying it's deserved recognition. But then you have the Federation raising serious questions about whether it actually makes a meaningful difference in real terms, especially given inflation and what they see as a long-term erosion of living standards and a service in crisis. It really highlights that gap between official statements and perhaps the feeling on the ground for many officers.
So thinking about all this, the different views, the undeniable importance of the police, what should you, our listener, take away from this? What does this deep dive suggest about, how we value public services and the pressures on people in uniform?
Well, I think it shows that something like a pay rise, even a seemingly decent percentage, is never simple. It forces you to think about inflation, about recruitment and retention issues, officer well-being. It's all connected. Does this particular increase truly bridge the gap between the government saying thank you and officers feeling genuinely valued and supported in a very tough job? Or is it, as the Federation suggests, just enough to keep things ticking over without addressing those deeper cracks? That's the lingering question, isn't it?